Welcome back, folks, to Let's Replay Albion, and when last we left off, we need to get past these lasers so we can further progress to the right here in this dungeon area. And although we could just try and walk through them, there is a small chance that members of the party may survive. It's more likely that they'll all die horribly, and we really want to avoid that. To disable these lasers, we actually have to go into this area here, which I completely failed to do before. And the only reason I failed is because I'm not particularly great at this timing puzzle. What I was getting wrong is that we have to be far closer to this barrier, and we need to be very observant of that light there. We can manipulate it even without pressing the button, and then we have to be very quick about moving through. There is enough time for you to do it if you're quick on your toes and very close to the area that opens up, which will bring us to this area here, with even more lasers. There are a lot of lasers in Toronto. It's almost like Ned doesn't want us to get to the fusion reactor and stop them. Maybe it's that, maybe it's not. It's more likely that, isn't it? Yeah, I could see them doing this just to stop us. Definitely. What we want to do is we want to use one of the few service robots here that won't be trying to kill us. We want to lure it over to these lasers so that it will move into them and get destroyed. And hopefully we've moved in such a way that the... nope, I don't think the service robot has currently managed to path around that door. There we go. We want to very quickly move around here, and hopefully the service robot will try to go this way so that it can... there we go. It goes into the lasers and disables them. One thing to note is that if you have the robot go more in this direction, it'll go a little bit weird in that only some of the lasers will disappear, and then there'll be a hole in the wall here. But right now, everything is clear for us to go into this door. We definitely don't want to step into those lasers, though. We really don't. Over here is the way that we're going to find access to a panel that will allow us to disable those lasers. It's a very long corridor that ultimately leads us to here, which is opposite where those lasers are being emitted. And once more, having Joe will be useful, as it eliminates any possibility of any party member being hurt by manipulating these wires. Marvellous. If Tom or whoever you're having use those wires is sufficiently lucky, they'll probably avoid the damage anyway. But this isn't the primary reason why we took Joe with us. And it's also not because he can use the guns, even though the guns are really, really good. The main reason is coming up very, very soon. I'm sorry, robot, but you've helped us save Albion, even though you're no longer functional to comprehend that. We will never forget you, robot with no name. Let us move on now and head this way. Once more we have to go through this, and I believe, yep, there is a light there that we can use to see our way through. There we go. And if we now go the way I was trying to go before, we should be able to get past the laser barrier, as it is no more. And indeed, it is now gone. Marvellous. And there are some aggressive robots that are most certainly going to try and kill us, but only 2 of them. We can most certainly take care of 2 of them. There will be a few random encounters just sort of roaming around, and by random I mean where they'll be is random, but nothing else about it will be, as there are no encounters that will just pop out of nowhere here. Alright, we'll just fight these here. A frost crystal will be more than adequate to defeat these 2. It will also deal quite a lot of damage as well. There we go, 18 damage apiece. Marvellous. And the fireball will deal 16, which is actually quite a lot compared to the melee attacks and ranged attacks that we're dealing out. We're basically waiting for some critical hits here, or for Malthus to eventually wear down this robot so that he can... there we go, 1 critical hit, and that one is still standing. Won't be for very much longer though, with the sheer amount of fireballs and ranged attacks going its way. These encounters aren't that dangerous, but there are going to be more dangerous ones that we're going to face. Is this one gone? Yes it is, which is brilliant, and 58 experience points is entirely worthless, but we'll take them anyway. It is this area that Joe is critical, and I will be explaining that in a moment once we've taken care of these 2 encounters that are coming our way. Or maybe it's more than 2. It actually might be more than 2. It might be 3 or 4 if memory serves. Alright, a fireball here, and some attacks there, and we might as well have Joe and Harriet attack there. Marvellous. We could actually be using the bolt rifle here. Might as well, actually. It will most certainly make this a little bit easier. There we go, and we'll just swap that out as well. I think we'll have Joe keep using that crystal throwing axe, though. And the round shall commence, starting with all the enemies being frozen in place, which is brilliant. It's a good thing that we did bring all those spell restoring potions, especially if we can't rest in here. It does make sense that we can't, though. I imagine these security forces would take advantage of us resting and recuperating for 8 hours and probably kill us all. And there is one critical hit and another one, which is brilliant. We'll move the fireballs over here, and a ranged attack here, a ranged attack there, and there. And unfortunately, Tom can't do anything right now. Actually, Tom could do something right now. Tom could use that Gigantos stone here against that one there. And finally, we see that icon right near the end of the game. This icon is the I'm using a magical ability of an item icon. Let's see what this stone does, apart from making a fireball. Well, we'll see how effective it is, rather. There we go, 1 attack, 2, 3, and 4. And that one is gone. And that there with the 4 attacks there was how effective. There we go. That is 8 damage to the robot. That is not fantastic, but it's better than nothing. We might as well change the focus there of the ranged attacks to that one. And maybe we'll change this over to... there is also a spell in that, but we're not going to be using that right now. We'll have that be used against that one there. 1 attack, and that one is just gone, which is brilliant. And they only spent 1 bolt and 1 ranged attack there, which is fantastic. A few ranged attacks here, and this one will be gone. There are a lot of uses of that Gigantos stone. You can quite freely use it as much as you like. I think it's got about 255 uses. But I don't think you can get rid of it even when it runs out. I think you can get it recharged, though, by the person in Gigantos who replenishes the charges on items. I don't know how much that costs, though. Never really used the charges in weapons as much as I probably should have. And that encounter is done. But there's one over there, and one here. Hello, singular robot that is actually... It's actually 2 robots. I think occasionally there is an encounter with just one of them, but we haven't encountered that just yet. And I've no idea why I'm getting Melthus to melee attack there. It's probably far better for him to just use a fireball there. After all, he does have just a couple uses of it. 48 remaining. We have more than enough resources to take care of almost everything we've encountered so far. The keyword here, however, is so far. There are going to be some far more dangerous foes that we're going to face soon enough. And that one is still standing. I'm sort of just waiting for critical hits to take care of these right now. And we haven't been lucky this round, but maybe next round we'll be more fortunate. A few attacks there, and I think that's good. And that was 1 critical hit there to take care of that one, and this one is still going. And there we go. 1 more round should probably do the trick. Even if we don't get a critical hit, I think the sheer amount of damage we're dealing will be sufficient. That is a lot of ranged attacks there that were successful from Syrah. I can't believe that when I previously played, I actually had her as a melee combatant. She's far more effective as a ranged combatant. And there is 1 more encounter coming our way. Hello there, how are you? Do you really think you can stand to defeat us? And there is 1 single service robot. Time to use the Frost Splinter, I believe. There we go. A melee attack there. I was about to say a ranged attack there. I don't think Tom is going to be throwing his sword anytime soon. Unless it's a magic sword that comes back when he throws it. I don't think it's the Axe of a Long Arm. It's a pretty good weapon, but it's not that one. That is probably going to be quite a bit of damage. Yep, 27 points of damage, and just melee attack there after melee attack. And it's still standing. I'm not very surprised about that. It won't be for much longer, though. There we go. We'll just... that is a lot of hits, and it is now gone. Excellent. This is a very, very open area, and that is for one particular reason. You could be fighting a lot of encounters here, and by a lot I mean about 17. The 4 there that we just fought, and 13 more that are in here. The only way that you can progress if you don't have Joe in your party. Do you see all those robots? Those robots are all going to try and kill us. Oh no! Look at all these robots. I bet every one of them is programmed to attack. Indeed they are. And if you press that button there, they will all come straight towards you and try and kill you. Because we move close enough to them, they've all activated and are trying to reach us but can't. There is something in here we actually want to use, and that is this panel here. It's very important for us getting further in this area. There we go, we'll just mess around with these wires, and we're not going to be going through here. The first time I played through this on my channel, I had to go through this area because I didn't have Joe. And it is a very difficult thing to do. I mean, you could lure all the enemies out, or you could use Wrath of the Goddess if that's high enough, and you could do that to defeat all of them, but it is 13 encounters and 106 robots. It is quite a challenge indeed. There is also a panel over here that you need to open, which is why I didn't switch the leadership away from Joe. There we go. The reason why I brought Joe with us is because we have an alternate way we could go now. There is a door here, and one panel that has been removed, and a selection of wires that are actually broken, that we can fix now that we have Joe in our party. Let's examine them, shall we? Some wires and components hang from this part of the wall. Apparently it's being repaired, but the work is not completed yet. Joe throws an interested glance at the place and says, let me see. I could probably repair that with just a few adjustments. Should Joe try to make repairs? Yes, he should. Okay, that won't take long. So that was it. Ha! That was probably the energy supply for the door over there. Look, it's open. And indeed, an alternate route has been presented to us. If you don't have Joe, you can't fix this whatsoever. You can mess up wires with other members of your party, but only Joe can fix this. And so without Joe, you have to fight 13 encounters of 106 robots, and we really don't want to do that. So we're going to go here instead, down this very long corridor. And if we go in this direction, I think it's a little bit here, north and there. This is where you would come out if you went through this area. But all these robots would have something to say about us trying to do that, so we're just going to ignore them and head in this direction. There are a bunch of lasers here, and if we hadn't messed around with the panel that was here and there, you can actually see the dots there on the map that indicate where they are. If we hadn't done that, these lasers would all be active. But right now, something appears to be wrong with them. The laser barrier control is apparently not working properly. Parts of the barrier switch on and off at regular intervals, which is really good, because that means that we can now get past them. We are going to save, however, because there is a small chance that I could mess this up, and we could end up just frying the entire party. Right. Let's now go and step very, very carefully. And if you're curious about what's down there, absolutely nothing is down there. And there's absolutely nothing here as well, although there is a way that you can see even more lasers over there. We're going to have to tread very, very carefully and actually look down here so that we don't accidentally move a little, not far enough. There we go. A little further forward, a little further forward, a little further forward, and a little further forward. And we have made it through the first area of lasers. The first of two, because if we go around here, there are even more of them. Although fortunately, it's not as long as the previous one was. I think it's like maybe 3 or 4 lines of them rather than 5 or 6. Carefully does it, and carefully does it. And we have made it through. Marvelous, and nobody died, which is even better. There are going to be some encounters over here, though, that we're going to have to take care of. Like this one here. That person looks remarkably familiar, wouldn't you say? Ned, the humanoid body which serves the AI of the Toronto as the communications interface with the people on board, is standing in this room. Tom Driscoll, I ask you for the last time to stop all activities directed against the company, and turn yourself in to the ship's administration immediately. Do you really believe we have come this far just to give in to a well-formulated yet laughable appeal of an AI? I was afraid you weren't going to be receptive to reasonable arguments. Be sure that you won't defeat this body as easily as the last time we met. The AI body attacks. We're going to be fighting Ned here. This is an AI body too, and this is a pretty difficult fight. I don't remember if this enemy is faster than Syrah, but we're going to find out, aren't we? Let's have some melee attacks here and some ranged attacks. We might even want to use the gun here. This is a pretty difficult fight, and having the gun on hand might be quite handy. There we go. 4 attacks with a gun should certainly help even out the odds in our favour, if they aren't already heavily in our favour. Let the round commence, and unfortunately, it is not weak to the frost spells, and that is a lot of damage. Maybe it's weak to the, that gun is definitely helping us here though. Maybe it's weak to Thorn Snare. There's only one way to find out, and that is to use Thorn Snare there. We're going to have to be very, very careful, considering the fact that it is not weak to frost spells. I sort of had a feeling that that was the case, but it was worth trying. Alright, let's see if Thorn Snare does any better. The answer is, yes it does, and the AI body is down. We got a heavy firearm here. This deals 40 points of damage, and is even better than the pistol. And we got 13 bullets, and you'll note that while it did have a melee attack, we don't get a melee weapon for defeating the AI body. That is not the last time, unfortunately, that we're going to be seeing the AI bodies. There is also one other benefit to having the heavy firearm. Joe is at 105 out of 50 long range. Joe is now at 125. It is even better than the pistol. We'll definitely be using this quite a bit, and we're going to have to be ready for other encounters as we go on. There's nothing in here, I don't think. Nope, so we're going to move forward and be very wary of any other encounters that we face, because Ned knows now that we're not joking around, and we have the capability to defeat his bodies, the AI bodies that he has quite a lot of. Here is a slot that we don't have anything for in particular. This is a card reader. Apparently it is intended to be a door lock, but the door is already open, which is very handy. And here is a panel that we can't use, but may come in handy. I don't remember if that ever does come in handy. It may do. What is over here? Well, this area is somewhere new, so we're going to go this way and see if we can find anything of interest, like for instance a card or two. I'm pretty sure we need some cards so that we can gain access to other areas later. There's nothing here, and there's nothing here either. I thought for a moment that that was something we could use, but it isn't. We also might want to restore some of the spell points here of Syrah, so let's get one of those many potions that we have and just give one there. Marvellous. And we'll continue exploring now. Anything over here? I think... there are a lot of lasers here. A lot of lasers indeed. And it looks like no easy way to get rid of them. Or is there? There is this here, a very long and precarious corridor where you are surrounded on either sides by lasers. I suppose it's a kind of wall when you consider it, a wall of heated doom. And here is a panel which we can mess around with. It's a good thing we have these very special screwdrivers, eh? They're the best screwdrivers. And I think that might have opened a door. Let's have a look, shall we? It's open there, which means that we can now move on to the next area here. It's a kind of door, so we'll just move through here and onto the other side, which is brilliant. Anything over here that made our efforts worth it? Not so far. There is another one of these here. Let's have a look at that. A number of different coloured control lights are mounted on this wall. Let's mark these down, shall we? We have a dark green. I've actually been writing these down. So we have dark green. That's an orangey colour. Maybe an orange-reddy colour. That is a dark yellow and a blue. We're definitely going to have to remember these if memory serves. Or maybe we don't. It would be a little bit silly for them to give us those and, here are some more of them. And they are, let's see, dark green, that is... We'll have to write that one down as well, I think. Maybe I shouldn't be writing these down, but I get the feeling they might be useful. There is a red, there is a yellow, and another blue. There we go. We now have 12 of those. 3 lines of 4. And over there are those lasers again. What is over here that was worth exploring for? The answer is a large amount of nothing, but maybe down here there is not nothing. No, it would appear there is a large amount of absolutely nothing. Or there is another one of those. There might be another one of those around here. Perhaps here. Let's have a look, shall we? Ah, there is another one. Let's mark these down as well, shall we? We have, let's see. There is a dark green, there is red, there is a dark yellow, and there is a blue. Is that an orange? It looks more like an orange to me. I wonder what these are for. I can't quite remember, but I'm sure I'll remember eventually. I'm sure I will. And when we come back, folks, we'll go back through this area, avoiding all the lasers of doom, and head in... Ah, I think that is what it's for. This puzzle right here. Yep, we're definitely going to need to remember those for this puzzle here. So I'll catch you next time, folks. For when we come back, we're going to continue exploring the Toronto. In fact, I don't think there's that much more for us to explore. Maybe we're nearly done, eh? Maybe we are. But at least we haven't found any lasery doom. Well, we found it, we just haven't interacted with it. So I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later.